So, Chaotic Truth, welcome to YouTube Conversations. How are you, man?
Hey man, I'm awesome, man.
All right, man. So, I appreciate you taking the interview on a short notice. I do appreciate it. So, let's get into it. So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in a small Midwestern city. Um, to be more frank with you, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay,
Yeah,
Cleveland, Ohio. And did you grow up in a two-parent household?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
So, you grew up in a two-parent household as a black man.
Yeah.
How did you grow up around other people that didn't grow up in a two-parent household?
No, the majority of my friends in childhood and throughout my teenage years and even into adult years generally were from two-parent households.
Got it. Okay. So, your peers that you
Yeah,
because some of your childhood friends you probably still communicate with, right?
absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And pretty much successful in
Uh, if you define success as
their own
they
sense,
they're successful in their own sense. Yeah.
in their own sense. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the opposite for me. I grew up Brooklyn, New York, very poor,
Oh, yeah?
and we grew up around West Indian, so we was the only family without a father. But
Oh,
everyone
really?
else had their
Oh, okay.
father.
Okay.
They may have been in the house cheating and stuff, but they were still present to whoop.
Right. Okay. Okay.
They was still there. Um, did you grow up poor, middle class, or rich?
Middle class.
Middle class. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, so what was your biggest struggle growing up?
Being short.
Being short. Okay.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
Short, 5'6".
Five. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, how did you overcome that? Because growing up with
Well,
kids, they're pretty kids in school are kind of.
I mean, it was I never got bullied. I don't remember ever being bullied. Um, of course, like your older cousins that pick with you and stuff, but it comes with the territory. But however it came being short was being super funny. I developed charisma. I developed a personality. Um, Whereas, I view like the taller people around me didn't have to do that because they were taller. People just automatically they could just sit in the room and people would just automatically just, like them or whatever. That's what I observed growing up. And even into adulthood. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, how do you feel about children on social media? Children, as far as like 5, 7,
I think that
10.
I think that is absurd. I think that a child um unless they are an entertainer, I think that the whole idea of privacy is long gone, and that the idea of children being on social media, um, even though it's a new age type thing, because we didn't have that growing up, I think that those years should be sacred to the parent, and so sacred to the point where the parent should not allow them to be on there. But unfortunately, it's not the case because every child you see has a cell phone now. But then again, I'm talking from a person who grew up pre-social media era. We're latchkey kids. I don't know how old you are, but we're latchkey kids. We are the kids who played outside, and so I guess my perspective on it is different because I didn't grow up like that. What's normal now may not be normal to us, but it's certainly normal to these people. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm 36, so I definitely
Okay.
grew up in that same era where, um, you know, mom will let us out and got to be back before the light turns on.
Yeah.
Whoever survives,
Yeah. Whoever survives, right?
whoever
Yeah.
survives, make it back.
Yeah. But we
Whoever
didn't.
does it,
Right.
your parent get a call from the precinct. So, and it was. I think it was just a lot more fun. y- Growing up, I wish there were more pictures and photo and video of me as a child, but at the same
Mm,
time, I'm so glad as a
yeah.
teenager you can't watch what I did, the stuff
Yeah.
I've done.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was the beauty of our childhood. The fact that you met some kids, you guys had fun, and you bonded. You created like a certain little fraternity, and it was just yours. The whole idea of getting online as a 6, 7, 8 year old, to me, that's absurd. Because all these people looking at you aren't your friend. All these people looking at you, they don't really give a shit about you. It's just those core people, that development that we had, that peer to peer proximity, that physical bond was something that I still have thoughts about, like taking those long bike rides with my friends and being gone all day, sneaking on people's yards to get, when we had to get water. People forget this in the 90s. Like I don't remember any water bottles in the 90s, but we sneak
The
on
water
like
hose for someone
water
else's
hoses,
house.
and people were like, "What are y'all doing?" And we just run. Like to me, that was like the fun things. We didn't have social media, so we had our own little adventures and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, playing in the dirt. Yeah, our immune system must have been, just as strong
Oh,
as
it
a
was
homeless
top
person,
notch.
right? Because
Yeah, we used to play in dirt all day. Yeah, top notch. Yeah, and we were more tough, I think, when we were kids. We used to play like concrete football. I mean, oh man, we used to tackle each other on it. Yeah, we were some different types of kids, man. Yeah, these kids don't do that. They sit on their phones all day. I teach, or I used to teach, so I see it. I saw it all the time. These kids don't like going outside doing none of that.
yeah, I think yeah, I think the big part of that has to do. I think it's just like besides technology, um, as far as in the urban community, I think one of the big issues is the lack of fathers, right? Fathers,
Oh, definitely,
uncles. It
definitely.
doesn't have to be it should be the biological father, but
Yeah,
a man presence, getting football games together, and in certain urban areas, you can't even sit on your front porch because you may get shot.
it's a possibility.
And that's happening.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
parents don't want their kids outside because of the fact that chances are they're probably gonna get involved in some other stuff and there's some hard drugs
possibility.
out
Yeah,
there. You
yeah,
know. So do you have any siblings?
I do.
Okay. Put you and your siblings in one room. What happens?
Uh, that's a good question. Probably nothing. We're vastly different. So probably nothing. Yeah,
Yeah, because my family,
yeah.
we can't get together not even for Thanksgiving. If we
No,
do,
yeah, it's
it's
vastly.
quiet
Yeah,
until the first person speaking, then turkey's being thrown.
yeah, yeah. Me and my brothers and sisters, we have vastly different ideologies and viewpoints on the world. So yeah, it'd be different.
Yeah, and it's I look at the same my family with a lot of other people, black people in particular, where we walk different paths of life. We made
Exactly.
different choices and different thought patterns and so forth, but we should still be able to come together and at least focus on what we do agree on. There's a lot we
Right.
disagree about, but what do
Right.
we and it's just something about we just can't get together. It's the same thing I'm noticing with the YouTube community.
Yeah.
A lot we're focusing a lot on people are in tune with the issues or the problems that's happening.
Yeah.
So and you have children?
I do not. No.
Okay, you don't. Okay,
No.
so so if you were a father, right? As far as
Yeah.
we can see, your father, whatever, just
Yeah.
on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you believe it is to be a single father?
How hard it would be to be a single father,
Yeah,
with 10 being the worst.
yeah,
10.
10. Yep.
Yeah.
What about a single mother?
Same thing. 10.
Same
Oh
thing.
shit. Probably 100. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably 100. Yeah. Yeah.
One thing I've noticed is that I've had a stepfather,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and it worked out. Now, single mothers, they too much trauma, I believe, with a lot
Yeah.
of them. So when they get in these dating relationships
Yeah.
with a good guy, they tend to make sure it doesn't work, right?
Right.
And I think a lot of men, including me, that if they've experienced this, you know, and they took what's called the red pill. I know you spoke
Yeah.
about it, right?
Oh yeah.
They
Yeah.
took what's
Definitely.
called the red pill and they got hurt and they come on the red pill and they say the red pill and they just spew a lot of hatred
Yeah.
and
Yeah. A lot
the
of people in
focus
the.
on
Yeah.
women. So what is the red pill?
So the red pill is embracing, in my opinion, universal truths. It's embracing reality for what it really is. It's not pretending. It's being aware of what we really are in terms of what we are in the in terms of nature, the natural world. You know, um, a lot of people in the red pill have become radicalized. Those are the people who bash women all day, sort of like Islamic terrorist or even Christian terrorists. You have people who have a philosophy and they take a component of it and they become radicalized. They become, to a degree, they're willing to do violent acts, or they're willing to say violent things, where the actual philosophy, if you look at it for what it is really a good philosophy. So the red pill community is pretty much a community of men who are fully aware of certain um, certain wrongdoings of a system. So the child support system, and wages in the developed world are wrong. So people who speak out against certain things that they deem as wrong within a society. How, for example, men are underappreciated, but men create and develop and maintain the society. So you have, for example, the African American community. Over the last 50 years at least, all you hear is my mama, black women. Black women are queens. But the red pill teaches that they're not. They're not queens. They're just human beings who have flaws, and the fact of the matter is that they don't go through the same injustice or the same pitfalls that men do, and those are truths. Women aren't tied up in the criminal justice system. Men are. Men aren't. Women aren't. Women aren't victims of homicide and robberies and other acts of violence on the scale that men are. Women aren't in child support court all day. Men are. And so the red pill talks about these things, but a lot of times men become so angry that that all they do is focus on women. But when in actuality, they're not focused. They should be focusing on how to come to a solution. For example, a person like me would say, well, stop having children outside of wedlock. A person like me would say, if you have a problem with your employer, start your own business. You know, uh, to me, that's what the red pill is about. It's about finding a solution, because we already know, in my opinion, that the world is a nasty place, but a lot of people don't believe that, and those are what we call beta men. The people who like to believe that the artificial world is moral and nice. The people who identify as red pill and who study it and critique it, we know that the red pill is basically understanding reality for what it really is, and it's nasty and it's mean, but there are ways to come to solutions or resolution. Excuse me.
Do you feel like so the solutions you gave, right? The solutions you gave, do you f- do you get any backlash because you're giving those? Do you get
Of
called
course,
names?
of
Okay.
course, of course you do, especially in the African American community. Particularly African Americans, from my perspective, are, I hate to say this, but at times I feel like it's a monolith in terms of thinking, behavior, etc. And so, with the lack of full scale critical thinking, it's, it sounds like you're bashing certain aspects of the black community, or certain aspects of ideology that's accepted by the masses of people, and particularly black people. So yeah, it's just a lot of backlash on my part. You have a lot of people. I've gone to panels where people get mad at me for saying that the nuclear family is the superior family structure, you know, and I get a lot of women, black women, who are raised in single parent households. They will argue and say, well, you don't need a father all the time. You don't necessarily need both parents. And I say, yes, you do. And there's a lot of backlash with that. I'll even try to prove my points, even with stats, and they don't care. Statistically speaking, the majority of criminals in prison are from single parent households. The majority of violence that takes place are individuals who come from single parent households, etc. But they don't care about stats.
Now, why do you? Okay, um, so you seen the infamous famous video with Kevin Samuels? You're average at best, right?
Oh, that was a legendary video. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
almost a year ago, or over a year
So
ago. Yeah,
one of the panel members from Lapeef Network. I'm sure you watch that show, right?
occasionally.
Lapeef.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who he
So
is. Yeah.
Courtney Michelle left there, and when she left, she went on another panel. She was talking about the reason why she left because she didn't feel like the conversation was moving forward. It's
Yeah.
very even with Kevin Samuels, very redundant.
Yeah.
Don't come on the show with your bonnet. There's 20,000 people watching. Um, Represent yourself better, and guess what happens? It never fails. A woman comes on
Yeah.
with her bonnet on. It's like so she feels like since that video came out with Kevin Samuels, you're average at best. Do you feel like the conversation? Do you feel like we're as people we're improving?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely. You mean in terms of African American people?
African American people in the dating scene because you just like you give the statistic they don't
Yeah.
care, right? They don't care about the okay.
Yeah. Well, y- we okay, so right now the majority of African American homes are single parent households. But what I really believe is going to be there is going to be a paradigm shift. I believe that through technology, you have access to more people. You have access to more thought processes, ideologies. You have access to more information. I really believe that the pendulum is going to swing back and it's going to be at a different level. I believe that women are going to start being more conservative. When women start realizing that, when the millennials, the women our age, when they realize that they've become cat ladies, I think the newer generation, they're going to see that and say, you know what, I don't want to end up like that. I don't want to be a cat lady. It's a woman who just has cats all around and she's single with no man. And they're going to study and analyze, well, why were the millennials, why are they not married? Why are they, having children outside of wedlock, et cetera? And they have access with their phones to see, "Oh, okay, this is what she did wrong." And I think that I think like it may take 2 or 3 generations, but I think that women are going to be sort of like the Stepford wives. They're going to be more conservative in the future. I really believe that. So yeah, but it's through technology though. Yeah,
Why do you believe 80% of divorce filed is from women?
hypergamy. I think that most women, it's in their nature to primarily care about resources, and and there's a reason why, but I feel like a lot of it is money. A lot of it is women looking at TV and social media and seeing that the grass is greener on the other side, and they're looking at their spouse and saying, okay, I'm never going to be to this level if I'm with this guy. Because remember, man, this is the first time in history you can get on your phone and you can literally see people who are millionaires, and not just actors and entertainers, but real estate investors, people who inherited money, people who started their own business. So you're looking at these people in your 3 bedroom bungalow and your spouse who's a mailman, and you're saying, "Damn, I could have this man." But before, people didn't really have access to information like that. So the only rich people you saw were the people, you know, like Michael Jackson or something in the tabloids. And you say, well, that's Michael Jackson. I can never be with him. And women probably thought like that. So now more women than ever are seeing a quote unquote better way to live by seeing all these men in all these professions before. And so now they expect that of their spouse. So now the 24, 25-year old short pudgy girl, she can now say, well, I deserve a high value man. Whereas 30 years ago, she would have, a woman like that would have never said anything like that. Yeah. So now, even if they do get married, they say, well, I've been there, done that. I want out of this. There's no longevity anymore, and a lot of these women probably didn't even come from nuclear families in the first place. So it could be a lot of different things.
I did an interview with a lady, Ishmaeli Enriquez. She's a content creator, and she Dominican. She explained to me why her culture, the family stay together
Yeah.
versus our culture. And one of the major factors is, like you said, the benefits, right? Which
Yeah.
is in our case in America would be government assistance, especially in the
Oh,
urban
yeah, we
communities.
know that. Yeah.
Government assistance. So you'll take a woman that is, from Dominican Republic without government assistance. She wants her family, her children to be taken care of. She's dependent on the man to provide for her. So the chances of her leaving, no matter how many times he messed up, and I'm not advocating for be with someone that's treating you wrong, but the whole point is that the family stays together
Exactly.
and they figure a way to figure it out.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
70 years old, together. Like, how did y'all stay together? Because if she left him, there's no resources besides, a woman giving up their body, which is something she,
Yeah.
obviously you don't want to do. But so I just think that was interesting. Do you think it's still time to save the red pill? Because a lot of women, listen, as soon as the red pill is in your profile, you automatically get labeled as angry black man.
Well, let's be completely honest. The red pill is gaining so much traction that I believe that it's going to become a an ideology that's going to be accepted by 90% of men within the next 10 years. So now women are going to have to fall in line. This is why I keep saying that you're going to start seeing more women being conservative in the future. Just a theory. I could be wrong, but more men now are coming to the realization that of hypergamy. More men now are coming to the realization that, hey, I'm the prize, meaning the man. And so more men now are going to start setting benchmarks. You're going to have to be thin. You're going to have to be in shape. You're going to have to not wear weave. You're going to have to not run your mouth in public. You're going to have to do this. And I think a lot of men are going to start doing that. And so the red pill is never going to die. I think it's just going to get stronger and stronger. Because remember, man, men create society. Men manage society. Men fight and die for society. Women don't. So whatever men do, women are going to have to fall in line. Men have only allowed women to be feminists, to be thoughts and all that. That's because men have allowed that. As soon as men say, you're going to put on some damn clothes, you're going to look like this, women will start doing it. They have no other choice.
It's like when I look at social media and
Yeah.
you see a woman twerking, and then she brings her child, daughter in there to twerk
Yeah.
as well. Like, it's funny. I always think, where's the father? So I do believe. Do you believe us as men? Even though I don't have any children myself, but
Yeah.
us as men need to be accountable. Need to be held. Even though it's a small group of men that's out there mating irresponsibly, and the men that are in their 30s starting to make money, didn't have children yet. They're not having kids yet. They're like, wait, let me do it right. Do you think we should take some sort of accountability as a whole?
Yeah. I mean, men should properly vet. I mean, a woman who's shaking her ass. I mean, think about this, man. You said you grew up with your mom, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Your mom wasn't shaking her ass. My mom wasn't shaking her ass. If you really sit back and think about it, women who were shaking her ass in the '90s, and I tell this to a lot of younger dudes because they didn't grow up with us in the '90s, or women who dressed with thin, tight clothes. I say in the '90s we call those women prostitutes, or we call them strawberries, and that's what they were. Women generally didn't act like. I don't remember it. Like, do you remember it back in the '90s how women acted? They didn't act like this. Thought
No,
culture
not at
didn't.
all.
Even in the black culture, yeah, you had the term hoochie mama and all that, but it wasn't full scale like it is now. So you as a man, and to answer your question, the responsibility that you need to take is to properly vet. If you have a woman who's listening to trap music, she's dressing half naked, then you can't really convince her to change her behavior. Her mind is so messed up that she thinks that's normal. So the idea that you want to have kids with her is abnormal. And so yeah, she's gonna be twerking with your kid even if you're married because she's a thought. What you want is that you want to test them. If they listen to soulful music like Sade, Anita Baker, if 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 you're with them and they enjoy peace and just hanging out at the house and having some wine and just relaxing, those are the types of women. I'm not really religious, but even a woman who is religious, but this thought culture going out, I see women 40 years old going out to clubs now. Where you didn't have that shit in the '90s. These women who are in their 40s and they got kids and had a mom babysit them and they're in the clubs. What are you in the clubs for? So those are the types of women to avoid. So as a man, you do have the responsibility, and The responsibility is to choose a female who, in my opinion, is just conservative.
Yeah, like that's why Kevin Samuels he advocates for the first thing before we can get into the conversation relationships. You need therapy. A lot of women in broken homes, a huge percent of them are molested. A lot of boys too, you know. So before you can even begin the process to have a child and to break that cycle, you got to get
Yeah,
help. You know, stay away from because a lot of people also on drugs, right? Marijuana too, taking drugs, and they're not, um, and that heightens their issues that they have. You know,
yeah. I
so
would I would strongly suggest to avoid women who come from single parent households. Um, I know it's and I've said this on a lot of panels, and people get mad at me, but you're dealing with a woman who's coming from a broken home. Um, if she didn't have both parents, then in my opinion, and I'm not a neuroscientist, but I believe that brain development in a child is heavily dependent upon both parents being in the household. And I've said this before. I know a woman is from a single parent household or a nuclear family within 30 seconds of just a conversation. Like literally could just tell the difference. Just like with men too. So the thing is that um I know you're saying therapy, and you could be right, but I strongly suggest don't even do it. I've seen some of my fraternity brothers. I've seen some people that I know who have married, and they've been divorced within a matter of a year, and they married a woman from a broken home. And you are right. I have a fraternity brother. His wife was molested as a child, and the woman had all types of problems in terms of emotional problems. And I said, even before he married her, I said, man, you should not marry her because, first of all, she's from an unstable household. She was s- supposedly molested, and it's just going to be problem after problem. I mean, I know you may have fallen in love with her, man, but it's just going to be problems. And the same thing with a lot of other my friends. They just the same way. So I understand what you're saying about therapy, but sometimes you just have to go with that nuclear family, man. Even if you have to go overseas to different women in the islands, South America with Brazil, Africa, or if you even want to date outside your race, then I would suggest that. But I would never, in a million years, suggest dating a female, especially an African American female from a single parent household. Never. I know it sounds harsh, man, but it's just my truth, man. You know.
no, I totally,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I totally understand. I don't, yeah, man. So, as far as for black men, especially young black men, older black men as well, what
Yeah.
do you what is your thoughts on dick discipline?
Oh, I mean, the best teachers are the people who have failed. You look at people who failed, um, that's the best teacher. I mean, when I was younger, I'm not gonna lie, I was sleeping around a lot, but and I'm not gonna lie to you too. I probably got real lucky, but the best thing to do is to look at people with 3 and 4 kids out of wedlock and see what they're going through. See how many times they're in the courts, how many times they are in arguments with their child's mother, and you could just look at them and say, you know what, man, yeah, maybe it's probably best for me to probably just be with one chick, probably marry or something instead of just sleeping around. Because I see a lot of dudes like that.
Yeah, Bill Cosby got accused of what 20, 30 years ago with absolutely no proof,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah.
Andrew Cuomo, that's a he was governor for New York.
Yeah.
Regardless of, we're on the opposite side politically, but there's no proof. They don't have no actual evidence of him doing anything to women, but just their say so. And
Hmm.
I think that that is very scary. you know, that someone could come out and accuse you of something, no proof.
Yeah. So the older I've gotten, the more I realize that um there the social dynamics between men and women have been integrated. When I was a kid, If you were at a barbecue or something, the men would just be with the men, the women would be with the women, and it was more separated. Now you see women there involved, and like you could be somewhere, you could be having me and you could have a conversation, and a woman would step in and interject, and to me that's absurd. You know, and I don't know why I've always thought that, but um, there should be some sort of separation between men and women, and I think that men back in the day understood that for that very reason, that you could be accused of anything. And so what that separation does is, if I'm not your husband, you should never speak to me. And you see more women. I was on a panel the other day, and the panel was talking about, it was women, and they were talking about, well, I can meet a guy and be friends with him if I'm married. I said, no, you can't. It's absurd, because men and women are designed to fuck each other. And so the fact of the matter is that you meet a man, he's going to be, eventually he's going to think about sleeping with you, and eventually you're going to think about sleeping with him. I don't care how much you guys pretend to be friends. I mean, unless you guys met in the third grade and you grew up and never had any sexual relationship, most men and women, the first instant you look at another woman, you think about having sex. So, you know, the thing is that what you need to do eh, is to pretty much avoid. Um, I hate to say this, but fraternizing with women unless it's your fiance or your wife, really, to avoid those Bill Cosby situations. And that's how I've been. Like, maybe you shouldn't get into the elevator with this random ass female. Maybe you shouldn't walk up the stairs behind this random ass female. You know, um, maybe you shouldn't allow this female to be in a conversation with you guys. You ever seen the movie Godfather?
Yeah.
Remember the last scene in Godfather when Kay was outside the office and Michael Corleone, essentially he actually took over the operations of the entire family, and they closed the door on Kay.
Yeah.
You didn't, but see, that scene to me was one of the most symbolic symbols of patriarchy in cinema. Basically, it's you are not allowed to be around us. You are not allowed to be a part of this, because women and men, in terms of interacting like that, remember in the movie she was always trying to ask him what his business was, always. And because the movie was trying to show you, like, look at this American woman. Kay was an American. I don't know if you know that she was an American woman. She was of German descent, but she was an Americanized woman. Whereas Michael Corleone, his mother was from Italy, and he actually went back to Italy to get a wife. Well, it was other reason why he went back to Italy too. But so the movie was showing you that America has a new way of thinking, and look at how women here are. They're liberal. They're always trying to be in business, and you got Mrs. be in your business. Where if he would have got that Italian woman, she would have already knew what it was. You get what I'm saying? So that scene when the door closes, when Al Neri closes the door, that scene was like, you are not a part of this. And I think that's how men should be with women. Like, I'm not about to have a meeting with you unless there are cameras in here, unless something. So yeah. So men need to, because you have brought up Bill Cosby. So yeah, if you are a man, you need to set those precautions for yourself.
Absolutely. I think the other issue is that, unfortunately, like Kevin Samuels for 3 years was talking to men. He didn't
Yeah.
get he didn't get the exposure he needed, right? Even
Yeah.
though obviously he can, but as soon as he put the direction towards women, now there's he goes live. There's 19, 20,000 people in his live.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, one of the issues is that as a content creator, who's the one who, like, what gender is mostly given the not just the views but the is donating and stuff, and so the support.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Samuels gets donations from women. Um, but you gotta look at the lead attorney. He gets donations from men, you know. So look at Tommy Sotomayor. He gets donations from men. So I guess it's all about your niche in terms of, the YouTube streets. But um I wouldn't necessarily, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but I think that Kevin Samuels figured out. a loophole, and his loophole is critiquing women, and women who really don't probably like him for real, but they're so shocked by his thoughts, they watch him. They just watch him, and they will donate because really that's what they probably really feel on the inside as well. So that's my theory on it.
Yeah, I think most of Kevin Samuels supporters, the people who call up, the people who don't like him, the people who participate the most,
Yeah,
essentially don't like him. But then they sit there and say, "Ah, I do look like a clown with this thing on top of my head," you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
So
He has a
yeah,
way of talking. Yeah,
so like I asked like a lot of content creators that like people that do like funny skits and they're around a lot of these
yeah,
beautiful women about how important to take discipline and for the most part, they don't. They may be. I think even with the skits, it's a little bit too personal,
yeah,
But most of them has told me definitely they want to avoid doing anything with women that you work with,
yeah.
because it does come. It does
Comes back
come
to
back.
bite you because
It
remember, a woman could always say that a woman's go-to is you assaulted her. If you ever notice that, anytime a woman is you do as a woman wrong, it's always you did something to her, whether it's physically or sexually. That's it, because they know how to manipulate um, an emotional response in society because they have no other power. So at least if I say, oh well, um, one of I was on a panel the other day, and I'm not going to mention the female, but she said that a dude said hi to her and how she was uncomfortable. And that's what I'm saying. A woman can take that high and manipulate it and twist it into something that oh, he's creepy. So yeah, I listen, this is where the red pill comes in. If you are not a high value man, or if you're not really a popular man, the best thing to do is, I hate to say this, man. You know, I'll give you an example. I was at this Mexican restaurant a few months ago, and it was this young dude. He had to be about 27, 26, 27. He was there on a date with this. I mean, this chick was about a two and a half, and she was just giving him the runaround, embarrassing him. And I wanted to go over to him so bad and say, dude, not only is this chick embarrassing you and making a fool out of you, this is the same chick that will throw your name in the mud, and now, you know, you have been vilified in a court of public opinion by a substandard female. You shouldn't even be out in public with this with this grotesque female. You know, at least try to get with the best. I think so. Hopefully, that answers your question.
Yep, that definitely does.
Yeah,
Um, what is let's see. So, who has more privilege, black people or gays?
black people. 100% black people. So black people have more privilege. Privilege. If you sit back and think about it, let's talk about education, right? Um, Black people, we are given. If you go to almost any inner city, um, I hate to say this, but we destroy shit as a people a lot of times. I've seen in my own lifetime, I've seen communities destroyed by us. They will literally build new schools in the inner city. Literally. If you and I taught, they will literally build 30, $40 million schools. Um, they will literally put all types of technology in these schools. Okay. To be completely honest with you, I don't necessarily think that those communities even deserve something like that because they destroyed what they previously had, and they're going to destroy that shit too. When we talk about the entertainment industry, though talented, our people have always been put on pedestals in the entertainment industry. Um, in fact, to me, some of the most famous entertaining people in the country have been black people. If you talk about sports, we are put at the forefront of, well, at one point, even with baseball, we were put at the forefront in terms of advertising sales, in terms of just status itself. for damn sure with basketball, for damn sure with football. And going back to entertainment, you got rap music. Rap everywhere you go. You go into any store. You go to any store in America. You go to a grocery store. You're hearing rap. So rap to me is not classical music. I think it's a low vibrational form of music. But everywhere you go, they're catering to the black culture. They don't have to play rap in these stores, but they do it. It could be a damn white store. They still are playing it. They're playing our music. You know, um, in terms of in quote unquote injustice, most of people who have gotten involved in situations with the police, they've done something wrong, or they were doing something wrong at the time, and we get the most media coverage when it's something black. Oh, black guy was this, that, and the other. It's been going on for 100 damn years. Even when we do shit wrong, Rodney King was in the wrong. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I remember it. The motherfucker was speeding down the highway doing 120 miles high off PCP. Black police officers would have beat his ass for that. You could have killed a family. And then he was resisting. But the media made him the golden child. And so we are the most privileged. And a lot of times it's undeserved privilege. It's undeserved acclamation, I think. But it's just my opinion though.
So as you see in the media, there's a lot of the black, successful, financially successful, famous people, who we can name: Whoopi Goldberg,
Sure.
Joy Reid, LeCaron James. I mean, LeBron James,
Sure.
um, and the list goes on. That is, it's hard to be a black person in 2021.
That's
It's
what they're
hard.
saying.
They're saying, yeah, it's hard to be a black person. Black,
And
basically the white man's the devil in the sense,
yeah,
everything's hard
yeah,
for the black man.
yeah.
What power does the white people have over black people that's stopping us from being successful?
There is no power. What's stopping us from being successful is us, black people. And the fact that Whoopi Goldberg or LeBron James would say that is absurd, considering the fact that the white man has made them wealthy. The LeBron doesn't own the NBA. The NBA is owned by 26 or 27 owners who are white, other than Michael Jordan. But those teams are owned by white men. The minority owners are owned by white men. People who own 2 and 3% stake in the teams. Then you have the majority owners. But it's ironic that Whoopi Goldberg is saying this. She's had a history of marrying white men. LeBron James is saying this, but LeBron James, you say you don't have any children, but you have nieces and nephews, right?
Yeah.
He wouldn't, and I'm pretty sure your nieces, and respectfully, I'm pretty sure your nieces and nephews are great kids. LeBron James would never in a million years have his kids playing with your kids, but he'd have his kids playing with white kids all around him. So we're all a part of the same hypocrisy, right? It's not that the white man is holding us back; it's ourselves. Think about this for a minute, right? I hear this, I get these questions, and I'm on panels, and I get kicked off of panels for voicing my opinion. They say the white man's holding you back. The white man's this. I said, well, that's funny. You got a Mercedes Benz keychain. You got a $200-300 damn polo shirt on. How come you didn't spend $300 with a black businessman? How come you didn't spend $300 in a black country? Forget African American culture. Why didn't you spend that much money in an African? They're African businesses. Why not spend that money over there? Why not invest in Dan Goldie? I don't know if you know who Dan Goldie is. He's the wealthiest man in Nigeria, or in Africa. But why didn't you invest your money on the Nigerian stock exchange? So we all know power comes with money. Look at the Jews. Why not empower your people by giving them money? You know why? It's so no. I don't agree. I don't believe that the white man has that much power. I don't think he has any power over anybody really.
What do you feel about most of the urban communities are Democrats, right? Not to get
Yeah,
political, but
yeah.
get a little political, right? So, what do you feel about a lot of the urban cities are owned, not or ran by Democratic cities? Constantly every year Democratic ran cities can't provide proof where all the funds are at.
Bec-
Yeah,
because black people love nice words, and the Democrats have mastered saying nice things that they don't mean. The Democrats will, they will say, "Oh, we should all embrace diversity. We should all do this." But these same Democrats who are the elites, they don't live around any other people but rich whites. You know, these same Democrats, they say all these nice things, but they won't live in these communities. Black people love hearing nice words. We like hearing nice fluffy things. Whereas the Republican Party or the conservatives, they just keep it raw with you. You know, see the liberal or the left or the Democratic Party, they do dumb shit like this. For example, Cardi B was interviewing Joe Biden. Think about the level of debauchery in that office. Somebody in his office, they're all Democrats. They said, "You know how we can get the black vote? They're so stupid. They will sit here and watch this retarded woman, because she's retarded. They will watch this retarded woman interview the president of the the nominee." The Republican Party would never in a million years do something like that, because generally people who are conservative are critical thinkers, and the idea that this woman was interviewing the president and people thought it was cool. I was like, first of all, Joe Budden doesn't even know who this woman is. Let's be completely honest. He's never heard her music, doesn't know who she is, etc. This man is almost 80 years old. He's lived through thousands of different entertainers. This is just one of thousands, and certainly he damn sure doesn't listen to this type of music. But this is why, because we will blindly follow, not we, because I'm not a Democrat, but we will blindly follow people like that instead of following people who are critical thinkers. And that's why the Democratic Party is the way that it is, and that's why it has such an influence in the black community or the urban community.
what's one thing you want to take away from the black community that you believe will help?
Take away?
Yes.
What do you mean?
To me is for temporarily rap music, take away
Oh,
from
okay.
something
One
like that.
thing.
Yeah.
It's so many things, man. But the one thing I can say is that this. I would say the one thing would be emotionalism, emotion. Um, I think that is what is actually hindering us. The African American particularly is emotional. Um, I think that embracing logic and reasoning will probably be a saving grace.
What's one thing you want to add to the black community? Maybe from other cultures or just
The
some,
embracing of critical thinking, and the embracing of um, technology and logic, and thinking about the future. We think about the past too much. I think if we thought about the future and advancing, we would be a superior race.
So love is the type of so love will cheat on you, right? But respect won't cheat on you. Love can come from family, right? You have siblings, y'all love each other, but they're probably steal from you, right? Whereas if you have someone that respects you, they those are the things that they won't do. They may not love you, may not like you, but say, you know what, this is something I won't do. So, would you rather have love or respect?
I would rather have neither, but I would rather have to answer your question, respect.
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
necessarily think that love exists. I don't. I think it's a concept that man has created, and I think the idea of respect is is also a manufactured thing that we've created. Like, honestly, I don't care if people respect me or not. It's just that because people could turn on you at any time. We're animals. I don't know what you believe, but we're animals. But to answer your question, I would rather have respect over love. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And who's the closest to you? You don't have to name them, but just who's the closest to you?
Uh, who's the closest to me? My wife.
So, um, God forbid she passed away today.
Sure.
What's
Mhm.
one thing you would regret you didn't do or say?
Uh,
It could be
thank
like
you.
an event going somewhere,
No, it's like just thanking her enough. You know.
So probably right after this, you gotta go thank her.
Yeah, probably 1,000 times. Yeah, yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
I started to ask that question because I want people. I think us, you know, like I have, my family, my mom and stuff is up there in age, and I think that we get really busy with everything we're doing, and we don't take the time enough to think until she passes or that person passed away. Like, damn, I wish I would have. So, why did you become a content creator?
Because that's funny that you said that. Growing up, I was always, like I told you before, I was always real funny. I was always real, like I would go into a room and I just want to be seen. And I think I missed the boat on entertainment in my teens and 20s. I really think that, like looking back at it, I really wish now I had what at my mindset now, because I would have literally went out to California and try to get into every little acting gig possible, or comedian gig. I would have tried. Um, I don't like working in office environments. I don't like that pretend environment, that professional environment. It's robotic. Hey, Bill, how you doing? I don't like that environment, because we're pretending. I
Yeah.
like being free and open, and YouTube or being a content creator allows you to do that. It allows you to be a comedian. It allows you to be um, a philosopher or whatever. So now that we have these global social mediums or media platforms, I'm able to do it now, and this is what I like doing. Yeah, I never. I've had all types of office jobs, teaching jobs, and I hated it. I hated teaching, especially in the inner city. I hated teaching. I hated the system. I hated the structure of it. Yeah.
So, what's most frustrating on social media or being a content creator?
The idea that people think that that you don't have a job, and that's what frustrates me the most. It's You do have a job. You are a content creator. You are creating entertainment. Obviously, if people are watching you, they find some sort of entertainment value. And so it frustrates me when people say stupid shit like, "Oh, that's not a real job." It is a real job, just like anything else is a real job that you do. If somebody thinks you have value and they give you money, then that's that.
Yeah, because a lot of the content creating, any of the channels that build substance, yours and so forth, you're not just turning the camera and just talking. You probably had to
Yeah,
do some studies first, right?
yeah.
Do some studies
Some
first, and
preparation, right?
exactly. So people that say it's not work, try to edit a video
Yeah.
and find out. When you're doing these streams, these different programs you have to pay for and buy, and so forth like that. Okay, so 2022 is not too far away.
Right.
Um, uh, what can your supporters do? What can your supporters expect from you? 2022.
Oh man, just consistent content, just every day. It's something to think about, something to critically think about.
And how do you want them to support you?
Oh man, just tune in. Just while they're at work or cleaning up the house, just tune in. Just have it on playing.
Exactly. Just have it on, even if you're not watching
Yeah,
because you're
even if you're not
busy,
watching,
right?
just
Just
have it playing.
yeah, have several windows open,
Yeah,
right?
do the same thing that you do if you listen to the radio. People just have the radio on and moving around. Yeah, just have it
Mm,
playing. Yeah,
that's a good analogy. Yep.
yeah,
So this is what we're gonna do. Okay, we're gonna put you
sure.
what's called the hot seat. Okay.
Hey man, let's go.
All right. So basically, I'm gonna ask you a question or statement, and all you do is just answer one word.
Sure.
Okay. So what state you don't want to live in?
Nebraska.
Okay. Heads or tails?
Tails.
Family.
Money.
Okay.
Yeah,
Money.
yeah.
Money.
Oh, money. Networking.
Single mother.
Poor patterns of behavior. Oh, you said one word.
Yeah.
Oh, bad.
America's current state.
Progressing.
Homeless people.
A misfortune.
Black Lives Matter Corporation, not the
Fraud.
movement. Okay. Instagram or YouTube?
YouTube.
If there was a war, who will win? East Coast or West Coast?
In America?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely the West Coast. Definitely the West Coast.
How to go to heaven?
Believe.
Lizzo.
Disgusting.
It's free.
Cool.
Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Thanksgiving.
The meaning of your last name?
Conqueror.
Okay. This interview?
Awesome.